You know, right now, at this very moment, there's something working in your favor that you can't even see. There's a force, an intelligence, a divine presence that knows you better than you know yourself. And this presence has plans for you that are so much bigger, so much grander, so much more magnificent than anything your limited human mind could ever conceive. You see, we spend so much of our lives trying to control everything, trying to figure it all out, trying to make things happen according to our timeline, according to our plan. But what if I told you that your plan is just a tiny fraction of what's actually possible for you? Think about it for a moment. When you were 5 years old, could you have planned the life you're living right now? Could you have predicted the people you'd meet, the experiences you'd have, the lessons you'd learn? Of course not. And yet here you are. You made it through every single difficult day of your life so far. You survived every heartbreak, every disappointment, every moment when you thought you couldn't go on. Something brought you through all of that. Something guided you, even when you felt completely lost. That something is the divine intelligence of the universe. Some call it God, some call it Source, some call it the Tao, some call it Universal Mind. The name doesn't matter. What matters is that this intelligence is real, it's present, and it's always working on your behalf. Always. Even when things seem to be falling apart, they're actually falling into place. Even when doors are closing, better doors are opening. Even when you're experiencing what you think is a setback, you're actually being set up for something better. Now, I know what you might be thinking. You might be saying, but you don't understand my situation. You don't know what I'm going through. You don't know how bad things are. And you're right. I don't know your specific circumstances, but I do know this. Whatever you're facing right now is not the end of your story. It's not even close. It's just a chapter. It's just a moment in time. And this moment, difficult as it may be, is preparing you for something greater. You see, we have this tendency to attach ourselves to outcomes. We say, I need this job, or I need this relationship, or I need this amount of money by this date. And when things don't work out the way we planned, we fall apart. We think the universe has abandoned us. We think we've failed. We think life is unfair. But what if that job wasn't right for you? What if that relationship was actually blocking you from meeting the person you're truly meant to be with? What if that financial situation you're in is teaching you something essential that you need to learn before you can handle the abundance that's coming your way? The truth is, you don't know what you don't know. Your perspective is limited. Your vision is clouded by your fears, your past experiences, your conditioning, your beliefs about what's possible. But the divine mind that created you, that breathed life into you, that set your heart beating and your lungs breathing without you ever having to think about it, this mind knows everything. It sees the whole picture. It knows every person you need to meet, every experience you need to have, every lesson you need to learn, and it's orchestrating all of it perfectly. Let me tell you something that might change your life if you really hear it. You are not here by accident. You didn't just randomly show up on this planet. You were called here. You were chosen. You have a purpose that only you can fulfill. There are people who need to hear what you have to say, who need to receive what you have to give, who need to be touched by your unique presence. But you can't fulfill that purpose if you're constantly trying to force your own limited plans on the universe. Think about the caterpillar. When it goes into that cocoon, does it know it's going to become a butterfly? Does it understand the transformation that's about to take place? No. From the caterpillar's perspective, it's probably terrifying. Everything it knew is breaking down. Its entire world is dissolving. If that caterpillar could think like we do, it would probably be panicking, thinking, this is the end. Everything is falling apart. But we know better, don't we? We know that the caterpillar isn't dying. It's transforming. It's becoming something far more beautiful, far more free, far more magnificent than it could have ever been as a caterpillar. That's what's happening in your life right now. When things break down, when your plans fall apart, when everything you thought was solid turns to dust, you're not ending. You're transforming. You're being prepared for flight. But you have to trust the process. You have to have faith that there's a bigger plan at work. Now, faith isn't about being naive or passive. It's not about sitting back and doing nothing while you wait for miracles to fall from the sky. Faith is about taking inspired action while trusting that you're being guided. It's about doing your part while knowing that the universe is doing its part. It's about planting seeds and then trusting that the right conditions will come together to make those seeds grow. You don't worry about the seed you plant in the ground, do you? You don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You trust. You trust that the soil has nutrients. You trust that the rain will come. You trust that the sun will shine. You trust that the invisible process of growth is happening beneath the surface, even though you can't see it. That's the kind of trust you need to have in your own life. When you align yourself with this divine intelligence, when you say, okay, I'm going to do my best, I'm going to show up fully, I'm going to give my all, but I'm also going to trust that there's a bigger plan. Something miraculous happens. Doors open that you didn't even know existed. Opportunities come that you never could have created on your own. People show up at exactly the right moment with exactly what you need. Coincidences happen so frequently that you realize they're not coincidences at all. They're the universe responding to your faith. But here's the key. You have to get out of your own way. You have to stop trying to control every little detail. You have to stop forcing things to happen according to your timeline. You have to stop micromanaging the universe. Because when you're constantly pushing, striving, forcing, controlling, you're actually blocking the flow. You're like someone standing in a river trying to push the water in the direction they think it should go, not realizing that if they would just relax and float, the river would carry them exactly where they need to be. This doesn't mean you don't have goals. This doesn't mean you don't take action. This doesn't mean you don't work hard. Of course you do all of those things, but you do them from a place of inspiration rather than desperation. You do them from a place of trust rather than fear. You do them knowing that your job is to show up and give your best, but the results are up to something much bigger than you. Think about the greatest accomplishments in your life so far. Think about the times when things worked out better than you could have planned. Think about the lucky breaks, the chance meetings, the unexpected opportunities. Were those really just random? Or was there something guiding you, orchestrating events, bringing the right people and circumstances together? When you look back honestly, you'll see that there's been a pattern of grace in your life all along. You've been guided even when you didn't realize it. You've been protected even when you felt vulnerable. You've been loved even when you felt alone. And that same force that's been with you all along is still with you now. It hasn't abandoned you. It hasn't forgotten about you. It's working behind the scenes, arranging things, preparing the way, setting up circumstances that will blow your mind when they finally come together. But you have to be patient. You have to trust the timing. You have to understand that delays are not denials. Sometimes the universe says not yet because you're not ready yet. Sometimes the universe says not that because it has something better in mind. Sometimes the universe says not there because it's directing you to a better place. And sometimes the universe says wait because the timing isn't right, because other pieces need to fall into place first, because you need to grow a little more, learn a little more, become a little more before you're ready to receive what's coming. When you truly understand this, when you really get it at a level that's not just intellectual but experiential, everything changes. Your anxiety decreases because you're not trying to control the uncontrollable anymore. Your peace increases because you know you're being taken care of. Your joy expands because you start to see the beauty in the process rather than just focusing on the outcome. You start to notice the miracles that are happening every single day. You start to appreciate the gift of your breath, the gift of your life, the gift of another day to be here on this beautiful planet. You start to see that you're surrounded by abundance, not scarcity. You start to realize that you're supported, not alone. You start to understand that you're loved beyond measure by the very force that created you. And when you live from this place of trust, when you live from this place of alignment with the divine plan, you become a magnet for good things. You become a channel for miracles. You become an instrument of the divine will, not because you're special or chosen in a way that others aren't, but because you've removed the blocks that were keeping you separate from the flow of grace that's available to everyone. You see, most people live their entire lives in resistance. They resist what is. They resist change. They resist the natural flow of life. They think they know better than the universe how things should unfold. And all that resistance creates struggle, creates suffering, creates a sense of being stuck. But when you surrender, when you let go, when you say, I trust that there's a better plan than my plan, you open yourself up to receive in ways you never could before. Now, surrender doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean becoming passive or fatalistic. It doesn't mean you don't have preferences or desires. Surrender means letting go of your attachment to how things should be and accepting what is, knowing that what is actually perfect for your growth right now. Surrender means doing your best and then releasing the results. Surrender means trusting that you're exactly where you need to be, learning exactly what you need to learn, experiencing exactly what you need to experience. When you live this way, something beautiful happens. You stop feeling like a victim of circumstances. You stop feeling like life is happening to you. You start to understand that life is happening for you. Every challenge is an opportunity for growth. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. Every closed door is redirecting you to an open one. Every disappointment is protecting you from something that wasn't right for you anyway. Think about the times in your life when something you wanted desperately didn't work out. Think about the job you didn't get, the relationship that ended, the opportunity that fell through. At the time, it probably felt terrible. You probably thought it was the worst thing that could happen. But now, looking back, can you see how it all worked out? Can you see how you were actually being redirected towards something better? Can you see how that disappointment was actually divine protection? That's what's happening in your life right now. Even if you can't see it yet, even if you're in the middle of the struggle, even if you're in the darkness, even if you feel lost and confused, there's a plan unfolding. There's a purpose to what you're going through. You're not being punished. You're not being tested. You're being prepared. You're being refined. You're being shaped into the person you need to become to fulfill your highest purpose. And your highest purpose is so much bigger than you think it is. It's not just about making money, although abundance is your birthright. It's not just about being happy, although joy is your natural state. It's not just about being successful, although you're meant to thrive. Your highest purpose is about being a vessel for the divine to express itself through you. It's about letting the love, the wisdom, the creativity, the power that created you flow through you and touch the world. But you can't be that vessel if you're all clogged up with fear, doubt, worry, and control. You can't be that channel if you're constantly second-guessing, constantly questioning, constantly trying to manipulate outcomes. You have to clear yourself out. You have to create space. You have to get quiet enough to hear the whispers of divine guidance that are always available to you. How do you do that? You start by changing your thoughts. You start by recognizing that your thoughts are not facts. Your thoughts are just mental habits, most of which you inherited from other people. Your thoughts about what's possible, what you deserve, what you can have, what you can do, most of those thoughts aren't even yours. They're just programs running in your mind that you've never questioned. But you can change those programs. You can choose new thoughts. You can decide to think in alignment with the truth of who you really are rather than the lies you've been told. And the truth is that you are an infinite spiritual being having a temporary human experience. The truth is that you are connected to the source of all creation. The truth is that the same power that grows the flowers, that moves the planets, that sustains the entire universe is flowing through you right now. When you align your thoughts with that truth, everything shifts. Instead of thinking, I'm not good enough, you think, I am an expression of the divine and I am more than enough. Instead of thinking, I don't have enough, you think the universe is infinitely abundant and I am open to receiving. Instead of thinking things never work out for me, you think everything is always working out for my highest good. These aren't just positive affirmations. These are statements of truth. These are recognitions of the reality that exists beyond your conditioned mind. And when you train yourself to think in alignment with this higher truth, your entire experience of life changes. Not because life changes, but because you change. Not because the circumstances shift, but because your perception shifts. And when your perception shifts, you start to see opportunities where you used to see obstacles. You start to see possibilities where you used to see limitations. You start to see grace where you used to see randomness. You start to see the hand of the divine in everything, orchestrating, guiding, supporting, loving you through every moment of your life. This is what it means to live in alignment with the divine plan. It means waking up every day and saying, I don't know what today will bring, but I trust that whatever happens is exactly what needs to happen. I trust that I'm being guided. I trust that I'm being supported. I trust that there's a plan that's better than any plan I could come up with on my own. And then you show up, you do your work, you love the people in your life, you take care of your responsibilities, you pursue your goals and dreams, but you do all of it with a light touch. You do all of it without grasping. You do all of it knowing that the real power is not in your effort, but in your alignment. The real magic is not in what you do, but in who you're being. And when you're being someone who trusts, someone who has faith, someone who knows they're part of something bigger, that's when miracles start to happen. You know, there's a story about a man who was caught in a flood. The water was rising, and he climbed up on his roof. A rescue boat came by, and the people in the boat said, "Get in, we'll save you." But the man said, "No, I'm waiting for God to save me." The water kept rising. A helicopter came and dropped a ladder. The pilot said, "Grab the ladder, we'll pull you up." But the man said, "No, I'm waiting for God to save me." Eventually the man drowned. When he got to heaven, he said to God, why didn't you save me? I had faith in you. And God said, I sent you a boat and a helicopter. What more did you want? This story illustrates something important. The divine plan doesn't always look the way you expect it to look. Help doesn't always come in the form you think it should come in. Opportunities don't always present themselves in obvious ways. Sometimes the answer to your prayer is disguised as a challenge. Sometimes the help you need comes through a difficult person or a frustrating situation. Sometimes the door you need to walk through looks scary or uncertain or not quite right. That's why you need discernment. That's why you need to stay awake and aware. That's why you need to pay attention to the signs and signals that are all around you. The universe is always communicating with you. It's speaking through coincidences, through patterns, through the people you meet, through the books that fall into your hands, through the songs you hear, through the feelings in your body, through the whispers in your heart. But you have to be present to receive these messages. You have to be conscious and aware. You can't be so caught up in your worries, your fears, your endless mental chatter that you miss the guidance that's being offered. You have to create moments of stillness in your day. You have to take time to get quiet, to breathe, to listen to the wisdom that's always available to you when you tune in. This is not some mystical, complicated practice. It's simple. It's natural. It's your birthright. All you have to do is stop, be still, and pay attention. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a few deep breaths. Feel the life force moving through your body. Notice the thoughts that arise without getting caught up in them. And in that space between your thoughts, you'll find clarity. You'll find peace. You'll find guidance. You'll find the knowing that comes from a place deeper than your thinking mind. And that knowing will guide you better than any plan you could make. That knowing will lead you to places you never would have thought to go. That knowing will introduce you to people you never would have met. That knowing will open doors you never knew existed. Because that knowing is connected to the infinite intelligence of the universe, and that intelligence has a much better perspective than your limited human mind. So the question is not whether there's a better plan for you than the one you have for yourself. The question is, are you willing to trust it? Are you willing to let go of your need to control everything? Are you willing to surrender your limited vision for a vision that's unlimited? Are you willing to say yes to the adventure of not knowing exactly how things will unfold, but trusting that they'll unfold perfectly? This is the invitation that's being extended to you right now in this moment, not later, not when you get your life together, not when you figure everything out, right now, because right now is all you ever have. This present moment is where life is happening. This present moment is where the divine plan is unfolding. This present moment is where you have the power to choose faith over fear, trust over worry, surrender over control. And when you make that choice, everything begins to shift. Not necessarily in your outer circumstances right away, although often that happens too, but definitely in your inner experience. You feel lighter, you feel freer, you feel more peaceful, you feel connected to something larger than yourself. You feel held, supported, loved by a force that will never leave you, that will never abandon you, that will never give up on you, no matter how many times you give up on yourself. Because that force is not separate from you. It's not some old man in the sky judging you, keeping score, waiting for you to mess up. That force is the very essence of who you are. It's the life breathing you right now. It's the intelligence that's causing your cells to regenerate, your food to digest, your wounds to heal. It's the love that exists at the core of your being, whether you're aware of it or not. And that love has a plan for you. Not a plan that requires you to be perfect. Not a plan that requires you to have it all figured out. Not a plan that requires you to never make mistakes or never struggle or never doubt. A plan that includes all of that, that uses all of that, that transforms all of that into something beautiful. A plan that takes your wounds and turns them into wisdom. A plan that takes your pain and turns it into purpose. A plan that takes your struggles and turns them into strength. You don't have to earn this plan. You don't have to qualify for it. You don't have to prove you're worthy of it. You're already worthy. You were worthy the moment you were born. You were worthy before you were born. Your worthiness is not based on what you do or what you achieve or what you accumulate. Your worthiness is inherent in the fact that you exist. The universe doesn't make mistakes. You are here because you're meant to be here. You have value because you're alive. And the divine plan for your life honors that value. It sees your potential even when you can't see it yourself. It knows what you're capable of even when you doubt yourself. It believes in you even when you don't believe in yourself. And it's constantly arranging circumstances, providing opportunities, opening doors, sending helpers, creating synchronicities to guide you toward the fulfillment of your highest potential. But you have to be willing to walk through those doors when they open. You have to be willing to take the opportunities when they present themselves. You have to be willing to follow the guidance even when it doesn't make logical sense. You have to be willing to trust that the universe knows what it's doing even when you don't. And that takes courage. It takes courage to let go of control. It takes courage to trust when you can't see the whole picture. It takes courage to keep faith when everything around you is falling apart. It takes courage to believe in a better future when your present circumstances are difficult. But that courage is available to you. It's inside you right now. It's part of your divine nature. You've demonstrated courage so many times already in your life. Every time you got back up after being knocked down. Every time you kept going when you wanted to quit. Every time you loved again after being hurt. Every time you tried again after failing. That was courage. And that same courage that brought you this far will take you where you need to go. But you have to activate it. You have to call on it. You have to recognize that fear is just a feeling, not a fact. Fear is just your ego trying to keep you safe by keeping you small. Fear is just your conditioning trying to protect you by keeping you in your comfort zone. But your comfort zone is a prison if you stay in it too long. Growth requires discomfort. Evolution requires uncertainty. Transformation requires letting go of what's familiar and stepping into what's unknown. And that's exactly what the divine plan asks of you. It asks you to step out of your small, limited, fearful sense of self and into your true, expansive, powerful nature. It asks you to stop playing small and start playing big. It asks you to stop hiding your light and start letting it shine. It asks you to stop doubting your worth and start claiming your birthright. Your birthright is abundance, not scarcity. Your birthright is joy, not suffering. Your birthright is peace, not anxiety. Your birthright is love, not fear. Your birthright is freedom, not limitation. And the divine plan is constantly trying to give you your birthright, but you keep refusing it because you don't think you deserve it. You don't think you're ready for it. You don't think it's possible for you. But it is possible. It's not only possible, it's inevitable if you align yourself with the flow of divine will. Because divine will is not opposed to your happiness. Divine will is not opposed to your success. Divine will is not opposed to your fulfillment. Divine will wants you to thrive because you're an expression of the divine, and the divine wants to express itself fully through you. Think about it. Does an apple tree struggle to produce apples? Does it worry about whether it's good enough to bear fruit? Does it doubt its ability to fulfill its purpose? No. It just naturally, effortlessly produces apples because that's its nature. And it's your nature to produce the fruits of your unique gifts and talents. It's your nature to express creativity, love, wisdom, joy, abundance. You don't have to force it. You don't have to struggle for it. You just have to allow it. Allowing is the key. Allowing means getting out of your own way. Allowing means releasing resistance. Allowing means saying yes to life instead of no. Allowing means opening your hands instead of clenching your fists. Allowing means relaxing into the flow instead of fighting against the current. And when you allow, when you truly allow, the divine plan unfolds through you in ways that will astonish you. Things happen that you could never have made happen through your own effort. Doors open that you could never have opened on your own. People show up who change the entire trajectory of your life. Opportunities arise that are perfectly suited to your unique gifts and purpose. This is not fantasy. This is not wishful thinking. This is the natural result of aligning yourself with the creative power of the universe. This is what happens when you stop resisting and start allowing. This is what happens when you stop fighting and start flowing. This is what happens when you stop trying to impose your will on life and start cooperating with the divine will. And the beautiful thing is, it's never too late to start. It doesn't matter how old you are, how many mistakes you've made, how far off track you think you've gotten. This moment right now is a fresh start. This moment is a new beginning. This moment is an opportunity to choose differently, to think differently, to be differently. You can let go of the past right now. You can release the regrets, the resentments, the what-ifs and should-haves. None of that matters anymore. All that matters is now. All that matters is this breath. All that matters is the choice you're making in this moment to either trust the divine plan or continue trying to force your own plan. And if you choose trust, if you choose faith, if you choose surrender, then you're opening yourself to miracles. You're opening yourself to grace. You're opening yourself to possibilities that don't exist in the limited world of your ego, but do exist in the unlimited realm of spirit. Because spirit sees what ego cannot see. Spirit knows what ego cannot know. Spirit can do what ego cannot do. And when you align yourself with spirit, when you say, not my will, but thy will, when you truly surrender to the divine plan, you become an instrument of miracles. You become a conduit for grace. You become a living example of what's possible when a human being trusts the divine intelligence that created them. So trust. Trust even when you don't understand. Trust even when you can't see the way forward. Trust even when everything looks like it's going wrong, because it's not going wrong. It's going exactly as it needs to go for your highest good and the highest good of all. The divine plan is always a plan of love, always. Even when it doesn't feel like it, even when it looks like chaos or confusion or crisis, even then love is at work. Love is orchestrating, love is guiding, love is preparing you for something greater than you can currently conceive. And that's the beautiful mystery of it all. You don't have to know what comes next. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to trust that the one who made you, the one who knows you completely, the one who loves you unconditionally, has a plan that's better than any plan you could ever make for yourself. And when you really get that, when you really trust that, when you really live that, your whole life becomes an adventure of grace, a journey of miracles, an unfolding of divine perfection. So let go, surrender, trust. And watch what happens when you stop trying to control everything and start allowing the divine intelligence to guide you. Watch how doors open. Watch how opportunities appear. Watch how people show up. Watch how circumstances align. Watch how your life transforms in ways you never thought possible. Because that's what happens when you align with the divine plan. That's what happens when you trust that God has a better plan for you than you have for yourself. That's what happens when you stop trying to row your own boat and start letting the current of divine will carry you to shores you never even knew existed. This is your invitation. This is your opportunity. This is your moment to choose faith over fear, trust over control, surrender over struggle. The divine plan is waiting. The divine plan is ready. The divine plan is perfect. All you have to do is say yes.